free agency, a chance for teams to retool their rosters ahead of the next season, and an opportunity for out-of-contract players to get recognised for their talents and receive a payday.
It's a tricky game for general managers, as tough negotiation skills are required to potentially lure big fish away from their teams, and also to make the most team-friendly deals to either remain flexible for the season or go all in for a championship. If you watched my first video, welcome back, but if this is your first time seeing this channel, I'm SS Playbook and I make basketball related content, and let's get right into the video grading notable free agency moves for teams in the Eastern Conference. Mikal Bridges. Probably the most expected move of the off-season, New York adds yet another Villanova champion to their roster, aiming to solely contend on the power of friendship. However, a polarizing rivalry is brewing, as known terrorist Tom Thibodeau, having his starters all averaging upwards of 42 to 45 minutes a game, meets Iron Man Mikal Bridges, who has not missed a game since 8th grade, including playing 83 regular season games in the 2022-2023 season. Although I'd like to talk more about the dichotomy between Bridges and the head coach of the team, I think it's time to talk about how Mikal impacts the New York Knicks and my honest opinions on the selection. First off, the Knicks front office has easily been one of the worst in the league for the past year. As a result of this, I find it truly hard to believe in the Knicks moving forward with their current roster and future. The Knicks essentially turned quickly RJ Bogdanovic 5 firsts and a few seconds into Mikal Bridges and quite possibly the worst contract in the league, OG Anunoby. Although Mikal Bridges is a good versatile 2-4 option, which is ironically the least lacking area on the Knicks, what intrigues me most about this signing is that if Bridges is truly better suited as a second or third option, or if he reaches peak as a player and will flatline around the numbers he averaged in his second season in Brooklyn. Bridges will bring at least 18 to 20 points a night, as well as defensive length, which does lean towards New York's identity, and a couple boards and a couple assists, taking a bit of pressure off Brunson, as well as providing good coverage if Randall is on his typical 5 for 17 type of night. He does seem like a good fit in New York, but there is no way if the front office had their time again, they would mortgage their future for Bridges, leaving their center position so weak and vulnerable.
And for that reason, Mikal Bridges gets a B.
Next, we have Josh Giddey. Exactly what Chicago needed. The dormant Chicago Bulls front office finally starting to do their jobs after 2 years of no player movement aside from free agency. But hey, at least they're showing some dedication and moving towards a rebuilding direction. There are two aspects of this trade that does hold the score back from being a perfect off-season acquisition. The Thunder 1,000,000% were buyers in this trade. No way the Bulls initiated this trade, which baffles me as to why the Bulls couldn't get anything more out of this trade rather than just a straight swap. Josh Giddey was consistently losing minutes and even his starting position during OKC's postseason push, constantly losing his value. So why the Bulls agreed to a straight trade is beyond my comprehension. OKC has a war chest of cheap talent and picks, so the Bulls front office inability to get a first or 2 seconds or cash or something just limits the score of the one-sided trade at this point. 2. The Bulls have Josh Giddey at home. Lonzo Ball and Josh Giddey are very similar in game style. Despite Lonzo not playing since Melo and LaMarcus Aldridge were playing around in the league, there is some serious upside that he may be healthy enough to take the court this season with his knee injury being gone. Ball and Giddey are both playmaking tall guards with elite vision but lacking on offense. Once Ball is back, I do believe the drop in his athletic ability will once again close the gap between Giddey and Ball. You can't have both Ball and Giddey to be successful in the future, so you're essentially hoping Ball does enough to be traded or see the floor when Giddey is off. Now it's time for what Giddey can bring to the Bulls organization. As a new era is on the rise for the Bulls, Giddey can bring a fast and exciting play style. He can play with a little bit off the ball and let White do some of the dominant ball carrying. He also has great dunking and high-flying big men in Buzelis, Pat Will, and Smith, as well as Levine, of course. Giddey can fit into most lineups, playing between the 1 and 3 or even the 4 in certain lineups. He's a great rebounder, dragging down 7, and if you're watching the Olympics when Australia was struggling to rebound, he got some crazy and strong boards. Furthermore, the Olympics proved his 3-shot is really developing now. Although still slow and ugly, the ball is finding the bottom of the hoop. as the 6'8 guard averaged 47% from 3 on 5 attempts a game, a skill which previously had him sitting corner and or benched. Nobody expects the Bulls to do much this season, but with the Giddey addition they will at least be exciting to watch. And for that reason, I'm giving Giddey
an A. Paul George. The stars have aligned in what is the most spectacular display of playoff chokers all found in the one organisation. All jokes aside, the 76ers roster is very deep and Paul George only adds to that, as the Sixers try and cement themselves as a legitimate threat in the top-heavy East. But when it comes to my personal opinion, this deal is among some of the worst from this offseason. The LA Clippers were offering a 2-year, $60 million deal, which could be a bit unders for the guard forward, but a great deal for the team. But cashed up Philadelphia will be paying $50 to $60 million annually for 5 years, which will see Paul George through to 39, who not to mention is coming off his worst career since the bubble, and we all know how that went.
They've gotten a number of second shots though.
George, way off. It's the side of the backboard.
No doubt Paul George will add a level of X factor and provide some security to the Philadelphia 76ers if Maxey or Embiid have a down game or a need for some creation. George has always been efficient and has been hovering around the 50-40-90 club for some years now. His playstyle is very easy to apply to every organisation. He drives hard as well as being a decent creator, talented passer, and he can hold himself on defense with active hands, getting 1.5 steals per game, and will rarely shoot a bad shot while still getting you 20 a night. But the contract is just heinous. This is clearly an all-in move for a team that is desperate for a deep postseason and trying to get Embiid his first Eastern Conference Finals berth. Paul George will only be progressing from this point forward while the paychecks increase. If the Sixers don't win a chip in the next 1 to 2 years, you may as well make him a full-time podcaster. And for that reason, I'm giving him a C+. Because I'm planning on making a Western version of this, and the East signings aren't nearly as big or as impactful as the West, I'll rattle off a few mid to major signings or player transactions that I really like and give my opinion. In my last video, I talked about the upside of Dyson Daniels. If you want a more in-depth video on Dyson Daniels, please go watch my first vid, but I'll summarize for the sake of the video. I believe Dyson Daniels has the potential to be a DeJounte Murray clone. He is a lengthy 1-2 guard, he's an explosive athlete, he has good hands, and a developing three-point shot. Once he gets a bit more self-creation from three, he will level up. The situation is also blessed with strong lob threat centers who can benefit both Young's and Daniels' playstyle. And for that reason, I'm giving him an A+. Wow. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Very good pickup for the Magic. He is a veteran guard, he brings championship experience, and he also adds another level of 3-and-D, which is perfectly aligning with the Magic's needs at the moment. He also provides insurance if Franz Wagner hates winning again. The Magic are desperately need in three-point creation. Not saying he's necessarily a high-volume shooter, but he definitely brings better than average three-pointing to a Magic team that desperately need it. And for that reason, including his team-friendly contract, he's only on 3 years, I'm giving him an A+.
Although there were a few smaller moves I liked, such as Paul Reed, Cam Payne, James Wiseman, Jalen Smith, etc. To stop the video from going too long, I'll just finish it off here. The next few videos will probably be predictions related, such as Eastern and Western Conference standings and player awards. And come closer to season opening, I will finish off the West version of this. But yeah, this is the end of the video. If you liked the video, please subscribe, like the video, show it to your friends, just anything to get my name out there a bit more. I am doing this sort of just as a fun sort of piss take thing, but any support will be deeply appreciated. And yeah, once again, please feel free to subscribe and like and do whatever to boost me in the algorithm. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next.